Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July 17th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good, feeling good overall. Let's see. I decided today that I was gonna more or less just microdose some time off, I guess, and I took a half day. And I truly do think the reason I took this half day was twofold. One, it was just miserably slow at work, and I truly hate that. Like I know I do find some joys in just being able to loaf around at work and be paid. Obviously, sweet, we love it, but at the same time, idle hands, devil plaything, whatever that saying goes, however that works. So I just don't like to do it. And, I had some PTO to burn, more or less, you could say. So I was like, yeah, let's just use a couple hours. Let's get out of here. So there was that, but the reason I wanted to is also the second part was I've been thinking about this damn car. You know what I mean? Like whenever your car starts getting fucky, there's a problem. Like it just becomes like an all-consuming like telltale heart, especially when you're driving it. Like that's that thumping heartbeat is this lawnmower noise now I'm dealing with. That being said, it is what it is. I was like I had a game plan. I was like I'm gonna go. I'm going to get a new air filter because I think that's probably the issue. Yeah, it's totally the air filter. And I was like, this is such a cope. And I knew it was, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to at least open it up. I'm going to do my best mechanic shtick and I'm going to look at it. And I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, it looks like not great, but I don't think it's the reason for the season, y'all. I think I just have an exhaust issue. It's just above my pay grade. I simply can't afford to care. And, with that, I kind of got back into my car, settled into the notion that hey, this is kind of like when you put like a card spoke in a bicycle, you know what I mean? Kind of just gives a little like maybe we could just learn to just love this. But yeah, so overall, we're having a good day. A lot of breakage, but hey, we're rolling with it. It's a business. Let's see here, food corner. What do we have to report there? I made another pizza. This was different. I decided that I was gonna make a variation of the chili pizzas I've been eating, and overall it turned out okay. Like it definitely, if I compared it directly to the Cincy pizzas, no, I'm not it. I'm not them. I can't stand in their shadow. I can't stand where they stood. But that being said, I did enjoy eating it. It was very, it was fun. It was interesting to make it, and I was like, okay, like this is something that I could at least enjoy. That being said, I don't know how many more permutations of things I really want to do. I know it's endless, but it's like, the first pizza was kind of the best, just pepperoni, sauce, cheese. Might just want to stick to that. Let's see here. I don't think there's anything else, so except that burp. Let's see. Let me go ahead and do my standard intro, and then we'll get into some news. Oh, yeah. All right. Our first story comes from CNN. Ukraine claims responsibility for new attack on key Crimea bridge. A Ukrainian security official claimed Kyiv's responsibility for an attack on the bridge linking the annexed Crimean Peninsula to the Russian mainland, a vital line of Russia's war effort in Ukraine and a personal project for Vladimir Putin. And this is the Kerch Bridge. We've actually talked about this before, around October. It was hit back then. It was kind of like, I think, more of like a car bombing situation. This was more of like a two strike thing between the SBU, which is like the Ukraine's Security Service, and then also the naval forces. So a little bit more calculated. Now, granted, Ukraine didn't initially take credit for this. They kind of played coy, and then, kind of blew up in the telegrams, so to speak. And then, kind of pressed about it more so. I think they've kind of now come out and said, yeah, okay, yeah, it was for sure. It was us. But this says seemingly done like pretty massive damage to the bridge. Also, I believed 2 people were injured as well, or 2 people were killed. I'm sorry, and one was injured, and a daughter was injured. Gosh, I can't talk. So obviously that is unfortunate. That's a loss of life there. Russia is calling this a terrorist attack. They vowed to retaliate. They also claim that there's no military significance for hitting the bridge. I think it's kind of disagreeable considering, like, literally this bridge was made, as a symbol of, like, hey, we really did take this area, so much so that we've, like, made a supply route. You can come to and fro now from Russia this way. So it's a big deal that this is being hit. Like military convoys and shit was going through this shit. So it is relevant. Let's see here. What else I wanted to cover on this part of it? Oh, yeah. Two-way traffic will be open for one lane only by September 15th. Then two-way traffic in both lanes will open November 1st. So that is kind of the plan in terms of their, like, construction on this area, the bridge. So, pretty significant happening. Then there's another thing that's kind of been talked about a lot today. Let's see, from Yahoo News. Why Russia is suspending the Black Sea grain deal with Ukraine. Let's see here. Russia announced on Monday that it was suspending a crucial deal that allows grain to be exported from Ukraine countries in Africa and the Middle East. The grain deal has been halted. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said of the Black Sea Grain Initiative, as soon as the Russian part of the deal is fulfilled, the Russian side will resume the fulfillment of this deal without delay. Now, granted, from the Kremlin side, they're saying, hey, we've fulfilled our end of the bargain the whole way. Since we said yes to this, it's been happening. But we wanted the UN to work with us on these sanctions so that we could get our fertilizer, our exports out. Because, yeah, you're saying, like, okay, we'll green light it, but you are still sanctioning us from, like, actually moving our product. Like, we can't actually put it on ships because they can't be insured because that's against the sanctions. Like, these sanctions do run deep. So they're essentially saying this is kind of bad faith. Why would we recontinue this, this grain shortage or this grain deal? Like, we're out. And I think a lot of the media is just saying, like, well, Russia's being so bad here. But I'm just looking at it, just art of the deal here or whatever. Like, if you're not getting yours, why would you continue to work with the other party? Like, maybe I'm not hearing it. Maybe it's just not being communicated. But it just feels like, oh, no, we said yes to this deal. All parties agreed. And, now we're surprised and shocked that now Russia, since they aren't getting theirs, that they're pulling out. And this is a big deal. We've talked about this before. There's a big sticker shock when you realize it's not just Ukraine that's affected in this grain deal. There's so much grain that comes out of Ukraine that goes to other countries. So many fucking countries. It affects everything. So I remember when this shit kind of popped off around July of last year. It was a big to-do because you could see it in the cereal prices. You could see it in bread. Like, all that shit went up because grain was being taxed, like, worldwide. So the idea that this deal is not being seemingly done smoothly and it's just being kind of pointed like, oh, Russia's just not being cool here. It's like, I don't know. It seems like both sides are not being cool here. And I would really like to get my fucking shitty bread that I buy from Kroger. God damn it. Please. Could you please just make this shit work? That's all I'm asking. I know. It's a selfish wish from, a guy in the Imperial Corps. But whatever, man. This shit's fucked up. It's not good. Obviously, it affects so many fucking people, this deal. Like, just little grains getting put on a ship and being allowed safe passage. It's so important here. So it's crazy that this is now grinding to a halt again. We'll see how things go. I know there's been a lot of talk. I initially heard this on the BBC, as I hear a lot of things, and there's a lot of things being pointed to, referencing the Crimea bridge attack, also with Turkey, kind of greasing the wheels here a bit to kind of get what they wanted with the whole Sweden NATO thing. They've kind of been playing nice. Even I think they allowed 2 Ukrainian soldiers early passage home, which is something that was kind of against war accordances or whatever the fuck. I don't know. They're saying that might be a reason for the season. I don't know. I try not to get too deep in this. I'm not an armchair, war expert guy. I'm just a dude. But like I said, man, I just want to be able to eat some Cheerios. I just want people to be having their bread. You feel me? Let's just get this bread. It just be so simple. Hopefully this shit gets worked out, and hopefully I'm giving brighter updates on that shit and not darker ones. All right, moving along. We're going to talk about some bad weather from CBS News. 5 dead, baby and sister still missing after Pennsylvania flash flooding. Heavy rain and flash flooding again turned deadly in parts of the northeastern United States over the weekend. Multiple people were confirmed dead in flash flooding that hit suburban Pennsylvania on Saturday night, just 6 days after a woman died while trying to evacuate her upstate New York home amid mass flooding that swept through the region and devastated parts of Vermont. So, New York's been affected, Vermont, I've heard Massachusetts, a lot of areas, but let's see, 5 people died on a flooded roadway in eastern Pennsylvania on Saturday evening when the area saw between 6 to 7 inches of rainfall in less than an hour, officials said during a Sunday afternoon press conference. Victims included 2 adult women and 1 adult man, all of whom authorities found outside of their cars in an area where the water level was about 5 feet above ground. Let's see, talk about the vehicles. As of Sunday afternoon, 2 people were still missing: a 9-month-old baby and his 2-year-old sister. Their mother is among the dead. The family is from Charleston, South Carolina. They were driving and got caught in flash flooding. So, obviously, super fucking sad. Like I said, this is happening in multiple areas. Meanwhile, there's also, like I said, just massive hot heat waves just moving across the country and throughout the world. So, shit's crazy out here. And not just crazy, it's weird. We got one more story to cover before I let you go. But I mean, at the same time, as much as this is a weird story, I'm going to call it a dub. I cover so much bad. We are searching for the good. And I think this is a dub. We're going to count this as an overall dub. All right. From Yahoo News. Boyfriend of Alabama woman Carly Russell suggests she was kidnapped before her safe return. So obviously the dub here is a safe return. Crazy if this is a kidnapping, but I just heard about this story kind of through almost Facebook timeline memes and stuff. Reported. Because sometimes that happens. It's this person was found. Or you'll see a sad post of someone who's missing, and it's oh my gosh, I'm all the way over here in Ohio, damn. But the boyfriend of 25-year-old Carly Russell, an Alabama woman who disappeared last week after reporting seeing a toddler walking along the interstate, suggested she had been kidnapped in a social media post Sunday announcing her safe return. So I just heard about her being found and that, like, you know, she had walked home. I was like, what the fuck? And now I'm hearing like, wait, she was kidnapped? Wait, what about a baby? So I was very confused. But excuse me. Let's read the quote from the boyfriend. She was literally fighting for her life for 48 hours. So until she's physically and mentally stable again, she's not able to give any updates or whereabouts on her kidnapper at this very moment. And that was from Tamar Latrell Simmons. And that was in an Instagram post Sunday afternoon. All I ask from everyone right now is to be respectful of Carly's situation. So obviously that's all fair, well and good. But I think that's pretty, it's a pretty big bomb drop. I think that, that she was kidnapped. That wasn't, necessarily known. I don't know if the police have commented on that yet or, answered to that effect yet. So, it's pretty big. And also, they also say that they had not received any calls of someone missing a child. So that doesn't necessarily dispute or make anything weird, but it's still weird that it's like, wait, so there was like a baby on the interstate and, she stopped for it. But essentially they do have what happened here. On Thursday around 9:30, Russell was driving home after picking up dinner when she called 911 to report that she saw a young boy in a diaper walking along the interstate, or walking along the side of I-459. Afterward, Russell called her brother's girlfriend while she allegedly approached the child to ask if he was okay. But the girlfriend never heard the child say anything. Instead, she heard Russell scream and then lost contact with her, hearing only traffic in the background. So that's obviously very eerie, very scary. Apparently the police came and they found her phone, her hat, and her wig. The engine was still running on her car. And then, let's see. And then shortly before 11 p.m. on Saturday, police received a call from Russell's family home that she returned home on foot alone. So, I mean, obviously, it's super good. It's super glad to hear that she's home safe and recovering. But, I mean, hopefully, there can be some kind of update, on what happened to her. And, we can at least kind of make heads or tails of this. But, yeah, obviously, just super crazy. But the rest of the article does go on to talk about kind of an important topic. Just something I really kind of want to graze. I want to get into the guts of. You can make a whole podcast about this shit. But in a 2016 study, Missing White Woman Syndrome, attorney and legal scholar Zach Somers found that when black people are missing, their disappearances generate far fewer stories than those of people in other groups. That's something I can just say, like, with a couple of years I've done just doing news stories, I can definitely attest to the truth of that. Essentially, and even I myself am guilty of it. There are a handful of stories that have happened where, women have gone to Mexico and have wound up murdered or been gone missing, and those stories slip through the cracks. They slip through my fingers, and I see them for maybe like a week tops, a few days, and they're gone. You don't see them again. They just don't stick in the headlines as much as like, oh, the I want to say, what is it, Gabby Petito, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not getting that name wrong, she went missing and TikTok, everything was just moving. And I do think it gets a little bit better in terms of, the internet kind of, this, like, the stories generate a little bit more, a little bit faster, and it can kind of help. But that being said, in terms of like the main headlines, main media, I would definitely attest that, like, white women and girls in general, just, they stay on the headlines more. That's been since I was a kid. Now I'm a 32-year-old man, and that seems to still be the case. That still stays in the headlines more. So I mean, hopefully that's something that can change. Like I said, I do think, with more and more technologies, advances, and things like that, hopefully it gives people more of a platform. But you know, some things change and some things stay the same. If you know what I mean. But I do try to do my best to at least talk about the stories I can talk about, that I can kind of make heads or tails of. But yeah, that's more or less all we got for today. Thanks so much. If you made it all the way to the end, you're the GOAT. Thanks for being more than a clicker, even though we stand a clicker. In the day, the numbers count. That matters. But I appreciate the people who actually tune in and are like, yo, I just want to hear what you have to say, Zay. Like that means the fucking world to me. But for those who would like to, take their support to the next level, patreon.com says Isaiah News. If you'd like to support, you become a newsie. I shout you out on the podcast, say your name, also plug a project that you're doing. Let's see here. Free ways to hit me up, though. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Also, I'm on all the socials. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube, please do. That helps a lot. Hit the thumbs up on all the episodes. That's pretty cool. Comments are great. Reviews are great. Go ahead and just give me the 5 stars. I'm going to just say it. I'm going to be vain. And if you didn't, that's okay. If you want to keep it real, that's cool too. I respect that. That's better than a bot. But, I like the love. I like the positivity, okay? Look here. I'm in the muck here. I'm in the swamp that Donald didn't drain, okay? For you, for me, for everyone. So, at least you can say it's like, attaboy, head pat, Give me those, please. Thank you. All right. That's all I got for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.